Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane, and I'm joined with my special guest, Michelle Wolfe. How are you doing today, Michelle?
Great. Happy Tuesday, everybody.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy
Yes,
Tuesday.
that's
Lots
exciting.
of stuff, lots of notes and interesting observations. So we'll see what we can touch to, and then we'll do a group meditation, of course, for everybody at the end before we say
Perfect.
farewell. Yeah. And
Josie's fun.
before Shane goes on to his next show today.
Yeah, Dark Wolf's actually in them. So yeah, I'm going to go on and join him live a few minutes after this show ends today. So I've already got his link below. So anybody that wants to continue the chat, live chat, you can hop on over to Dark Wolf's channel, Dark Wolf's Den, it's called, and the link is below. After the double lines, I try to make it easy to find. I use the equals instead of an underscore. But Jose's funny. I sent her a link because she always posts in Facebook for me because there's a Facebook group for the live show or whatever. And I had my caps lock on, so it said "thanks, sis" with the lowercase t and the lowercase s. And she was, "Is that a new type of typo?" And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
guess it's the
Half
first
yelling
shall
at
be last
everybody.
and the last shall be first, right?"
Well, that's everything's getting flipped now, right? Everything's getting
Yeah.
reversed. There's your
Yeah.
first segue.
Perfect. Yeah. So let's
Yeah.
segue
This
into
the seg
the energies and stuff.
Yeah, well, there. You know what? I'll segue into an interesting observation I had starting a couple weeks ago, and it started with a discussion with the wonderful Renee, one of our members of our chat and our community, and she gave me the idea of coming to the fork in a road, and that if you flip that fork around, so you have the line and then the fork. But if you flip it around upside down, it becomes a divining rod. So
Comes a divining
a
rod, you said?
divining rod, like the symbol. So
Oh,
if I could draw, I should have got a board for everybody. So if you think about walking along the road and you come to the divide and the fork in the road, so the ends go off like that, right? And I had this interesting observation that um, when you're walking the fork in the road and you're walking this path, that even though you believe you have a choice, because we have a choice of going one or two ways, right? But the thing is this path has been laid for us already. There's no going off the path. The path was created for us to walk on. And either way, whether we go left or we go right, it's still on the path that was made. So what that reminded me of was a little trick in sales. When you wanted, it was controlling the conversation. So when you wanted the conversation to go in a different direction, or you wanted to give them options, but the options are all yours. So either way they go, it's still where you want to be, but
false
it feels
dichotomy.
like
Yeah.
choice, right? Just like they would say in the American politics right now with the Republicans and Democrats. Well, that's how they monopolized everything, is by giving you the appearance of a choice. You can choose one or the other, but unfortunately, you still there?
Yeah, I lost
Okay,
your
yeah, yeah,
audio
yeah,
for
you're
a second.
there. Okay, yeah. Did you lose me?
Okay, you're back now, but I did
Okay.
lose like the last 5 seconds of what you said. So yeah, you said about the politics and this false dichotomy, like you have this choice or this choice, and you feel like you have a choice because you're given two options, but they're really
Yes.
leading the same way, right?
Yes, they've still laid that path that you have to walk on. So there's still conformity. There's still, even though you believe you have choices, you actually really don't have choices. So what really struck me is when she gave me this visual of, well, if you take the fork in the road and flip it the other way around, it becomes a divining rod. Can you hear me again?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. If you got right. So now what happens is those two ends are now in your hands, right? And the direction that you follow can go any direction you want. And it's an intuitive energy direction. So what I wrote, the old life walking the path is laid for you. You think you have a choice because you get to decide which road to walk on. But with the rod in your hand, it's now magical. And it's an intuitive tool like a compass powered by your energy. Or I also got the Dorothy's ruby slippers, in essence, are a divining rod. So it kind of ties in these different symbolisms. So what I see right now is in where this change going 3D to 5D and all that, in sort of a new way of looking at it, and how things are being flipped over and how we do things and deal with things, how we do make choices, how we make our choices today are completely different than they were a year ago or 2 years ago. When it was, you follow the path and you come to the fork in the road, or you choose this door or this door. But what if you want to fly? What if you don't want to walk at all? Right? So
Mhm.
it really is taking back this entire experience and this entire environment, and all the choices and all the creativity and all the experiences that we want to have back into our own hands. So I wanted to share that. So thanks to Renee for helping that along. But I thought that was an interesting way to look at the construct that we're leaving and the new reality that we're now merging into.
I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I like the intuitive sense of it. It's like we don't actually like me and Jose were just talking about. Sometimes you feel like you don't know which way to go or whatever. And one thing I've learned in the last year is that I don't even have to know. I don't. I mean, I'm still a truth seeker just because I'm curious. But I know in the end, all the chaos and everything around us is just a show, and things are going to work out the way they're supposed to. We just have to stay on track, stay focused on ourselves, and learn to change the world from the inside, because we can't really change or make anybody else do anything or believe anything. But we can, work on ourselves. We can treat people. We have complete control over how we treat people and how we respond to the way people treat us. And that's really the only responsibility we have. Everything else is sort of, you're in the river and you just go with the flow. I like to
Mm-hmm.
think of it as keep on trucking,
Yeah, that's it too, though, Shane. You don't have to have all the answers. So again, if you go back to the fork in the road and the divining rod, well, the fork in the road it comes with a map, right? So we always it was always choice A or choice B. We always had, and we knew the direction it was going to take us. And then we wondered why we weren't able to manifest what it is that we wanted. Because even though we could put the feeling into the ideas of what we wanted to manifest, the map to get there was still present, and still defined how we were going to receive that manifestation. Well, now all the more quickly that a manifestation will come to you, because you are intuitively in each and every moment, not having to know the road ahead, but just knowing how, literally intuitively, your energy and how you feel right now, and following that, and really following that through. So and with meditation now too, I'm almost feeling like I can feel the power of that divining rod energy, and heard a great equation that the information that we receive actually comes in through the back here, and then we omit out from the front. So I'm kind of getting this perspective. Oh, I lost your visual, so I want to make sure you still have me audio.
Oh, you know what? I think it's just my audio where I'm listening that I'm losing you. So,
Okay, I just want to make sure I
so
don't just keep babbling
okay,
away.
okay. So now I think I saw the thing moving. So I think
Oh, now you froze.
cutting out for. Okay, so okay, so omit it and then continue. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, so I see this divining rod as really being placed now, within our sort of third eye, in a way, and allowing, the hands that are helping to guide us are that, the spiritual guidance that we have, giving those messages, giving that information, giving that intuition, our higher self, pushing that through, guiding us, and then having it narrow out and come out, and that being how we choose our direction, in a sense. So the divining rod is really within us, as opposed to the fork in the road being completely external.
So it's almost like our chakra system, which directly connects to our energy centers. It connects to our heart and our third eye, like you're saying, and
exactly, yeah, which brought
and
me
the
to,
divine too.
well, that's it. And so an interesting, I try to make notes of where I pick up the different information. Dormant chakras. Okay, so the peculiar daughter, she's amazing energy. I don't know if you've seen any of her
Oh, I
videos.
love our videos. Yeah.
Oh, her energy that comes through. I find Linnea Fairlight Jin. She has this amazing energy. Like as soon as you see your eyes, it's like wham, you can just feel it. But so the peculiar daughter, I really like. She brought up the idea of dormant chakras. And what I'm seeing with this new energy, the next real big hit that we're going to experience, I believe I'm getting into, is going to be a mass Kundalini awakening, like on a much greater scale, which is an opening of the chakras. But it is no longer just the chakras that we have always been familiar with, the ones going up in the straight line. There are actually and this was great to explain a lot of sensations that we're feeling now. So this is why I want to share this with you guys. We have sort of forgotten or dormant chakras, she was saying. One of them being in the back of the head, the base is called back of the neck, which I was like, oh, that makes so much sense for all that pressure back there. The neck pain and everything is all that being opened, and feeling the pressure when we do feel the energy, we start to get that tingly feeling or the feeling of like the bike pump air pressure. So really think that's that energy coming in. The other thing that she mentioned was the chakras in your hands and the like portals in your hands, which I know a lot of people are feeling a lot more sensations there, and big time the feet. Big time the feet. So I know I've been experiencing that a lot too. So I hadn't, before watching your video, I hadn't had that idea sort of presented as like, oh, we've gone through all these ones, but now we're actually working with ones that we haven't been even familiar with using at all. And it does explain a lot of these sensations that we're receiving, like more and more and more and more, especially the feet
The buzzing
and
in
the
the hands and the
hands.
feet. Yeah.
I think the last few months, that back of the head, I think was us really, with the veil lowering and us being able to hear so much more of that intuitive guidance, spiritual guidance, all those messages. And that's why we're feeling so much back there. So I was really excited about that because I like the idea. She said the chakras on the feet would eventually be used for levitation. I was like, yes.
Oh yeah, and I can imagine how the hands would increase the healing, because I know there's a lot of
Oh,
healers
and portals, apparently, portals as well, too.
yeah.
So, and I think that we're opening up portals within ourselves. Yep, we are.
Well, Lori Lothian says, and I was just saying that you were just headed that way because of our pre-show conversation, but this all ties into why we're seeing more synchronicities and things like that, right? I
It
mean, because
all
that's our
ties in.
connection. Yeah, it's all connected. It's amazing.
It's so amazing. It really is. And what I'm really seeing too over the last week is I've had over, the last few years, since going past 2000, an increasing amount of really strong visual representations, ideas that have, really stuck with me that, was never able to shake. Some of them I've drawn pictures of, some of them I've made notes of, these different ideas, and I've kept them. And now it's seeing them, how they tie into each other and what they're sort of representing and the synchronicities that are involved. And it's like this mesh that's just growing and growing and growing, and the ties that connect everything are just increasing. So it's becoming more magical literally every day. It really is.
Yeah, it really is amazing
Mm-hmm.
To feel the energies. And I've had the buzzing in the hands. I had to do the artwork, and I was after I got done pushing the lawnmower for a while, it's like, oh, this buzzing in my hands from holding the vibrating lawnmower. I was like,
Yeah.
that's what it feels like. It feels like that zinging.
Vibrating.
Yeah.
It's vibrating. It's vibrating energy. It
Yeah, it totally
literally
reminded me of it.
is. Yeah. So I will mention it just in case anybody else is experiencing this too. It's not something that I heard specifically on any other channel, but something I'm experiencing myself and noticed personally. Other people experiencing that aren't even aware of so much of the awakening energy, but I believe it has to do with the feet chakra and the amount of energy that's coming through with them. I am noticing pain sometimes in my legs, or my ankles, or some shooting shock pain sometimes, or spasms, different things like that. So if anybody else is experiencing that too, please email me, wolfe.art101@gmail.com, and let me know if that resonates at all with you, and if you've been experiencing any of those symptoms as well. And I think with the increased vibrations, I'm getting a lot more feedback on people also having discharge from the ears. So that's been a really a great affirmation I've been getting from a lot of people too.
I know I mentioned quite a while back about shoulder pain, and I've known several people in real life that, you know, in my everyday life, I should say, in real life, that have the left or right shoulder pain, and I'd had horrible shoulder pain. Now it's been like 6 months or something, but it's gotten really bad lately, along with the sleeping deeper, and I find it difficult to sleep on the left side because of the pain in my shoulder, and I don't know. I'd heard other people mention the whole thing about
Well,
shoulder pain, so I just wanted to mention that there's really no cause for it. Like, you know, I'm not doing
yeah.
anything to cause it to hurt. You know.
But it's terrible. Are you having any hand numbness? Are you waking up with hand numbness? Because I am, and I've heard a couple other people too. And with the shoulder, I know it's pinched, and I know that's got to do with it. So I'm wondering as well, like just like with I believe with the chakras, with the feet and the energy that's going through there, and it's so much. Again, I think the last bout of energy was a very, very physical, changing one.
Mm-hmm.
Not just etheric or auric, and that I think it was a much more physical thing, and that's why we've dealt with even more purging, and definitely a lot of purging with that, and I'm believing with these new chakras as well being really activated now physically. And I'm thinking if this is what these new pains are as well too. But there was a couple other people I was surprised that were experiencing waking up with hand numbness, and I have been all week. So
Oh, really? Both hands?
yeah, no, just my right.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
any feedback on that from anybody, I would
yeah.
really appreciate.
I might have just thought that I woke up and I laid on it or something
That's
and didn't
it.
really pay much attention to it. So I can't really
No,
say either way. You know what I mean? Because that's what I would have immediately thought. Because I have
yeah.
had it on the back of the neck. Remember, we talked before that I felt like the back of my neck and lower part of my head was asleep when I woke up, and it's like I've never had tingling there. How do you cut the blood off to the back of your neck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Well,
it's
that's
weird.
that chakra now. I realize that's that chakra back here. So I don't know if there's a connection going on between here and, because it's been horrible for me too, Shane. All in here in my neck, and then my shoulders all bunched up again
Hmm.
in sort of the angelic wing area, right?
Yeah, that's what Lori
Is
just said. She said it's
Yeah,
the
it's
the
like,
shoulder pain is the re-winging
oh,
process.
yes,
I like that.
exactly. I really believe that. And I'm sure that there's a few of you out there too that are experiencing this. And I think, with this, the swelling and everything, it pinches the nerves and it
Hmm.
cuts off circulation, cuts off feeling. And just the fact that, whether you slept on it or not, the synchronicity is still there.
Right.
it's
Yeah.
it, it's still an experience. You still had an experience of waking up and having that feeling.
Well,
You
have
just
you had
assumed that you slept on your
right?
arm or shoulder funny, but the fact is it's present in a lot of people's reality right now.
I've been so out of it when I wake up, like I've been in surgery or something. I've been sleeping
Yeah,
longer and deeper and not really
yeah,
remembering dreams and finding it super hard to even wake up. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's so groggy. And,
yeah.
8 hours is typically a long nights, because like a year ago, it was like 5 or 6 hours a night is all I would have or whatever. But now I got up
Way
to eight
more.
hours. And now I've even had some 10 and 11-hour nights just because I
Oh
just feel
yeah.
so tired. You know what I mean? And so I just wanted to mention that because that's way out of the norm for me. I've always been a 5 or 6 hour sleeper, and I've basically doubled in the last year. you know, some
Yeah.
nights anyway.
Well, I've definitely been experiencing that too, but like in a bit of fluctuations. But so I do believe that yes, we are getting worked on at night, whether it's sort of psychic surgery. I think it's incorporating on a physical level this energy like this. So this is a big physical job. This one, just like was it last week we talked about how much energy it takes to create a life,
Yeah.
in pregnancy and how exhausting. So I'm seeing that as being this we're in the first trimester right now. So it's a very draining physical change. So I think, yeah, the physical energies came in to restructure and change his DNA, to open portals, open whatever it is. And
Probably
I think that they're
individualized.
coming in, yeah, and they're coming in fine tuning, hooking up this or disconnecting that or whatever it is. And I definitely think that takes a while, and we need the extra sleep. So they're probably making sure that we do get the extra sleep, because we need to physically, just like you would from surgery, you need
Yeah.
to sleep to physically recuperate. That's exactly what we need right now.
And that sort of
So
ties in with Allison Coe's last video when she was talking about one of her sessions that there's a lot of work that goes on in the sleep. And this person, I think, was watching a lot of news and eating the wrong things. I can't really remember the specifics of it, but they were having to clear out that stuff before they could get to the other work. And they were telling her, look, you could make your nights a lot easier if you didn't fill yourself with this fear-based news and eating the wrong things before you go to bed, because you got to clear that out before they can do the other work or something like that. So
exactly. Yeah. And it just takes longer and you just suffer longer. But you know what? Again, I say no guilt. You go at your pace. Listen, some days we want to go slower. Some days we want to go faster. And, things will play out around you in a given day to allow that to happen. So, you know what? If you're not perfect one night either, don't be hard on yourself. But the choice is coming back every single day and trying to keep your eye on the divine, and keep that as your goal. But don't beat yourself up if you don't do everything perfect in a day, and
yeah, I
your
think that's
routines can change.
yeah, and that's something that you might have to get an extra hour's worth of sleep if you quote unquote mess up and eat the wrong thing or something like that. But it's not the end of the world, you know what I mean? So
No, have those naps, please, please, please. People, have those naps. Do not feel nap guilty at all. Do not feel nap guilty. So we need that strength, and I think our body's doing a lot of physical work
it
with
makes it
this
harder
one.
to meditate too. I noticed a lot of my meditations end with wanting to take a nap if I don't get up and move around, because it's like I get in such a deep trance. It seems like that it's like, oh gosh, I just want to go lay down now. Even if I just got up and I just woke up, I had my caffeine and I shouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
tired at all. I can go meditate, and then immediately I'm like, I think I want to go take a nap again, and I have to like actually get up and move around, walk around outside or whatever.
Yeah. I like the word trance that you use, Shane, because I think that's a really good description too about the last week and a half or so.
Hmm.
Just, I mean, maybe not all the time, but definitely more periods of sort of a trance, like kind of maybe a bit zombie-ish sometimes. Also felt, I saw similarities to, I think what we were experiencing was a bit of a void of the energy, and that sort of vacuum again. And, so there's a lot of sifting and sorting, but in a more detached way, a lot more objectively,
Hmm.
but very quiet, very quiet mood, very contemplative, really digging through stuff, but in a lighter way. I don't, in being sort of in this trance, it's like you're numbed a little bit. So I think we're able to release old memories, old things that may have been too painful before. And yeah, and what I'm seeing is, like you said, we have to get rid of some old stuff. But I think we've laid this a physical foundation now, a physical foundation. Then they've come in, at night while we're sleeping, and help secure things down and bolt this and make sure it's sturdy, and and clear the debris away and do all of those things. Because I think that what the next one is bringing in, and why we had those other chakras opened and activated now, because we want the next wave of energy to come in and go through all of these previously dormant chakras, which I think even those that will, have experience or have been experiencing Kundalini awakening for some time, I think will actually receive a new kind of like in a new way because of these other chakras possibly. So I think it's going to be really interesting. But what I think is going to be super interesting is how many other people around us now have this awakening, and they are not going to know what the hell's going on at all.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people thinking they are going crazy. Yeah, because we've all been there. Like I think so many of us have.
Yeah.
I was to the point where we saw every doctor. We did this, we did that, um, and it's just
Begin to
the
feel
old
like
construct
a
does work. Mm-hmm.
begin to feel like a hypochondriac because you're like, nope. And the doctor's like, nope, nothing's wrong. It's just all in
Yeah,
your head. And you're like,
yeah,
no, this isn't normal. But yeah, I
yeah,
quit going to the doctor a really long time ago
yeah.
just because of all
Well,
the pharmaceuticals. I'm not saying I'm just talking about myself. So I
yeah, no,
don't
exactly. We all have to, but that it's definitely such an interesting similarity to all of our experiences, though.
yeah.
That
Even Dolores Cannon was talking about that way back in like 2012 when she was talking about, all the different symptoms we're going to experience with the
mm,
DNA changes and all that, and that how you'll go to your doctor and he'll say, no, nothing's wrong with you, and how to
hello.
sort of expect that.
Oh, there you are. You disappeared on me for a
Oh,
second. So, yeah, so she had like she was already getting messages of like the high blood pressure. I remember
yeah.
she mentioned that, and that was something that I went through too with the monitors. And there's so many other people, out there. My good friend Trisha, she even sent me a picture where she had the same kind of monitor I did because your heart's flip flopping around. Like, what is going on? My blood pressure was insane. It was like 197 over 115, like just stupid stuff. And with no explanation at all. Oh, you
Yeah, I
pulling up your
wanted to,
pictures?
yeah,
Perfect.
while we're talking about energies, I wanted to pull,
Mm-hmm.
Michelle S. sent me these pictures that were really mind blowing to me because it was sort of what we see. We talk about Mr. MBB 333 all the time because he gets these pictures. Now, this was going down the
Mm-hmm.
Pacific coast near Laguna Beach, I believe she said. And they were traveling along, and, the whole family saw it. But you can see this sort of rainbow cloud here,
Mm-hmm.
just like in the midst of everything else, just out there by itself. It's
Yeah.
strange.
You know what? And the thing is,
Beautiful.
it could be anything, but no matter what it is, it's still a rainbow cloud.
Yeah.
See, this is what just like I mentioned before. Well, it doesn't. It's still an experience.
Yeah.
So
And it wasn't just
there's
her.
just
She
it's still
said
a sign. Hmm.
She said all of her family were all in the car and they all saw it, and it even jumped positions at one point. So that's why I was like,
Wow.
"Whoa, maybe it's a ship or something." You know what I mean?
It could be, you know what? It could be so many things. Yeah, it could be a ship, could be, but I've thought too, see more and more pictures of this, rainbow aircloud. Like, are we seeing the energy come in towards us? Like, is it so bright in outer space? I mean, there's so many different possibilities, but no,
Yeah.
it almost, you don't need to know the whole answer
Right.
anymore. You don't need to know exactly what it is because the representation is still there. The symbolism is so relevant with the synchronicities, that are going on. It's part of the signs that you look for, the breadcrumbs that you follow to say, check, check, check. Just
Yeah.
like what goes to the numbers, right? The numbers
Yeah.
that we see are the times. So another great segue. I know I know I'm talking a lot this time, guys.
Oh no, it's all
So
good. And the
is
the
it okay?
animals, the strange animals, and the way
That
they've
was
been acting
yeah.
too. It's
I well
all
okay. So we'll finish Mr. MBB 333 first then, because I made some notes on pelicans. Right. So remember the graduation ceremony,
yes,
and we talked about that and the again synchronicity with Angela's graduation song,
yes,
and so I thought that was interesting. But again, he brought up pelicans, hundreds of pelicans. So, and there's been a few different things. Well, what do pelicans do? For what are they, known for?
uh,
Delivering babies, right?
Well, I
They
think
have the,
that's Starks.
is that the storks? Well,
Yeah, I think the
same thing.
pelicans are
Yeah.
the pickles, right?
The pickles. Yeah, that's right. It's not delivering babies, is it? Well, that's what I thought of. Anyways, but
Yeah,
it's
that
still,
was my initial thought too. I almost said that last week, and I was like, "Wait, that's the
that's
stork."
the
So,
stork. Well,
yeah,
the baby could be in their mouth. Like,
and there's actually yeah, really, there is actually what do you call it a Mandela effect with that particular the Vlasic. Now, it used to be spelled sort of like classic with a V, but now it's got one less S in it. So, and that's got the pelican on the. I could be screwing. That might not even be the right
I don't know.
bird
I
either.
just can't wait till you come out with your book.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that. I need a reference guide, please.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do.
I got most of the writing part done. I need to do the artwork for it now
Yeah,
because,
and it'll never be finished. Like you could put one book and then you'll just be putting out another
yeah,
one.
it's like
Yeah.
a whole encyclopedia volume, all these
Mm-hmm.
volumes of changes because they keep happening, and it's
Yeah,
amazing.
I know. It's you can't even keep up anymore. It's yeah, it's
And there's a bunch
everything's
of new
becoming
channels
more.
out. I remember when I came out, all the channels like just all the ones that were already established at the time. We're talking about all these new channels that were popping on the scene about the Mandela effect because people just have to do something with their time when they see it start happening, and they just want to
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. And
Mm-hmm.
now I'm starting to see this whole slew of incoming channels talking about the Mandela effect now, and so it's like you see these waves of channels starting up because people just want to discuss it, the impossible happening.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? Even so many people starting up channels just like mine. Just like not just to say to copy me is not what I meant,
Right,
but
right.
like there's many other people who have done videos now too that I found over the years, and where it really is, just your normal person who's been experiencing all these things all their life, and is finally really putting themselves out there to share and give affirmations and give feedback and making themselves known. So there's a lot of new people doing, not just the Mandela effect, but talking about their dreams or talking about, numbers or whatever it is that has to do with this whole amazing, or the sky pictures, this whole amazing event experience,
Yeah.
right? I would love your feedback on this. So with Mr. MBB, he's been showing all the animal behavior, and he's got the maps and he's taking note. So but what we've seen is there is some differences. So there's raccoons, crocodiles, like the raccoons acting rabid or attacking people, crocodiles being in streets or on porches and attacking people. But then also on the flip side, there's extremely passive animals, right? Birds, you see the moose, deer, rabbits, cougars, all kinds of different animals that are paying no mind to the people around them.
Right. They
No, not
typically
at all.
avoid areas where there's people, but they've been like hanging out, like, "Hey
They
guys,
couldn't
I'm here."
care less. Yeah, they're like, hey, what's going on? And patting a moose, you do not pet a moose. Like, it's crazy stuff, right? And then I know we're also finding animals where they shouldn't be, like in the water or in areas they aren't normally, finding elephants swimming in the ocean or deers in the middle of a lake. But so what I'm wondering, I know when people see the birds acting erratically. Well, a lot of times we think, the sky and the magnetics. True. I think it's a good possibility, but there's a lot of passivity to them as well. I'm wondering, are the animals experiencing this energy wave as well? What do you guys think? Do you think that they're becoming more like there's a separation between the nasty animals attacking people and the really, peaceful, loving, intuitive animals?
Yeah,
Could
I
that
can
possibly?
see that. And I've had several ideas, I'm like, is it whatever's in the chemtrails? Is it like tranquilizing or dumbing down the fear or whatever? Is it making them more calm? Is it the unity wave energies coming in, making them want to be around humans more? Or maybe it's allowing them to sense the humans' what do you call it?
That's
Whether they're
exactly what I was
aggressive
thinking.
or if they're more
Yeah,
connected and they know they're not going to hurt me. And they see
that's what
that
I was thinking,
connection.
Shane.
There's
Yeah.
so many thoughts about it, and I don't know because
Yeah, so I'm curious. I just wanted to bring up the topic because it was just going through my mind, but I'm thinking like, are they now being able to access a higher vibration that's allowing the animals to live without fear? That's what our goal is, to be without fear. So are the animals starting to live without fear as well?
plus
Possibly.
most of all of us are experiencing a bigger love towards animals and stuff. So
Yeah, so are
maybe
they
they feel
reading that?
that. Yeah.
Exactly what I was thinking. Or are they aware of that person's intentions? So much aware that, so that with the fear aspect on and the intuitive awareness that they're not being threatened and they don't need to feel threatened anymore, are they more passive? So it is one idea. But the other thing that does need to be mentioned, of course, is strange animal behavior being a sign of earthquakes and disruptions happening. So, and with what we see in Hawaii going
Perfect
on.
segue into that.
Yes. And
Because
again, I go
that's
to May.
crazy.
I think May is going, we're going to see a lot of shaking up. Like what I got visually a lot was, so if you were to have like our old earth that we were on, and underneath inside is our new earth that's growing. It's growing, grows, gets bigger. And what's happened is the older earth that's overlaid over top is dried up, it's cracking for the new earth to pop through. So that's kind of what I visually got for this month. And that we were going to see a lot of shaking up and cracking, the fissures and in different places. So I would expect to see more of that, not just Hawaii. I do think some of the strange animal behavior can be accounted for, most likely with upcoming events, to the land itself. Yes.
Yeah, I have seen some where it looked like the animals or particularly the birds, were more responding to the sun than they were. Uh, so it's hard to tell. Is it the sun? Is it the
Yeah. Well, how has the
energies and
poles
the
shifted? How has that affected them? I'm not saying the poles have flipped, but the fact is the poles have moved very
yeah?
drastically. They're moving much more quickly.
And I
Well,
think it's
wouldn't that
weakened by
throw
25% too. So the magnetic,
a
you know,
lot, at a far higher rate than ever, I think, recorded, right?
right. And I think they use that for navigation. Birds do anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's
So
sort of like
they're
their
showing up.
internal compass is going nuts.
Yeah. So animals, I think, and animals are showing up in places that they didn't normally go. You're way off track. It could be very well, because of that, and the magnetosphere, and the energies coming in and affecting the magnetosphere. Those poor things,
Yeah.
they
And
don't
that's what
have
stirs
maps.
up the energy of the earth. That's why I think we're seeing the increase in volcanic activity, and the shifting of things inside the earth like that is pushing all this stuff up. And I think it's scary if you live in these areas, but it's really this beautiful thing of transformation occurring. And, I'd say just get away from them and enjoy the
They're just
show.
yeah, they're signs. And I think, for the light workers that have been given, this information, intuitive information, you're aware of it, and you're walking your path, you know that we've been told from day one, do not fear. We know, these things are going to be going on around us, and we can just look at them as flag posts. They don't have to. We do not need to be afraid anymore. So, don't let it do that or keep you too negative. Yes, we want to know what's going on, but just recognize that these are the changes that are necessary for the shift that we're going through. Because it is on all levels, physical, etheric, spiritual. It's everything with Gaia
Yeah.
herself.
And I believe we
So
all have a higher power of whatever you want to call it that is protecting us and guiding us. And I would say just listen to your heart. If you feel like getting out of a certain area, just do it. Don't ask questions about it. And I feel like we'll be protected. So just
yeah,
have
it
faith in
really
that.
is time. It really, really, really is time. And you don't have to be raised in religion at all to understand that it really is time to put complete trust in your higher self, or if it's the Christ consciousness, or if it's the source energy, or if it's the angel, um, put the trust in them, because it's pointless to get distracted with any of that, because we are so much more with the way time is speeding up. Next segue. The way time is speeding up now, we are so much more in the now. So don't waste your energy. Just do what's in front of you, and what's in front of you is that spiritual path that does not need fear, that we've been sent here to walk along. So just put your trust in your higher self, and you hope these shouldn't be things that you should have to experience in a fearful way.
And I'm glad you brought that up, the whole religion and the fear thing, because I've had a couple of videos come up on my feed, and oh my gosh, they are in full tilt with saying, God's out to get us, and this is judgment, and on about, just you aren't going to know when it's happening. And it's like, how can you say this loving God is just
so
out
mean
to catch you? You know what I mean? He's out to get
Scold
you.
Ya.
Don't, let your oil run empty. And then they're bringing up all these scriptures and applying them the wrong way. And it's like, oh my gosh, stop with the fear already. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's where I say, you do you, boo, I'll do me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's their journey. That's their focus.
And they push those videos because it wasn't like I'm subscribed to that person at all. It's like, you read the title and you're like, oh, what's this about? And then you start, and then they immediately end with the fear, this is judgment, this is going to happen. The world's going to hell, and, and finally judgment's coming, and, everybody's going to pay for their sins. And yeah. And it's
we've been dealing with judgment for eons, and it's by us, not by the creator. So, that judgment's we've been inflicted on ourselves, not through him. So we wrote those words, in interpretation.
It's like almost like, but it's almost like there's a glee or a happiness about it. It's like, he's finally coming to destroy everybody. And it's like, why are
he's going to get you? Because they're waiting to see people get their comeuppance.
Right.
Right? For that, now you're going to pay.
I told you.
But it doesn't work like that, guys. I'm sorry. And if you're making yourself feel better by somebody else being taught a lesson, you're on the wrong path.
Your thinking is all mixed up. If that's how you're thinking, I think they're finally going to get what they deserve. If you're thinking like that, that's not loving.
Yeah.
That's not like Jesus. When did Jesus ever say something like that?
Yeah. I just find it's funny that people are just so convinced, though, that they know, because I don't really know. I throw a lot of ideas around. I pick up a lot of intuitions, and I don't need to know exactly, because I will someday. But I do know it doesn't have to do with fear, judgment, ridicule, seclusion, separation, any of those things.
That's a good point, because I don't know either. But what I do know is when there's two contradictory beliefs held, one is that there's this all-loving God, and the other is that this all-loving God is just waiting to torture you because you made some mistakes. You know what I mean? And those two contradictory thoughts don't jive anymore. I know at least those are contradictory, and that's sort of where my knowing comes in. I know that those don't jive at the same time. A loving father isn't, I know that personally I'm not out to, torture my kids, So.
Yeah. I just squirrel.
Okay, so we were moving into let's see. We stopped off at,
well, I wanted to do the time warp, but I had a good one in my head there for a second.
The time warp. Time changing.
Okay, so let's talk about this speeding up of time. So time is progressively moving faster and faster. So what I've realized this correlates with is this experience that's coming up now is, did I do that yesterday? Or was that the day before or the day before that? It's Monday or is it Wednesday? Did I do that 5 minutes ago? I can't even remember. Like, people are really losing track of, there's a real blending, a blurring of days, you know, like, did I talk to you last night? Or, you know, no, it was 4 nights ago. Well, how can that be? So things are more blurry. Can't remember if you did something one day or the next. Time goes faster. Can feel like skipping ahead minutes, hours, or days. And there's, what I see now is an almost a memory loss, but it's due to the living in the now, right? We're not requiring a lot of this old information, um and that feeling of, you know, not being able to distinctly separate the time as much, whether, and more feeling like, you know, yesterday felt the same as, you know, had the same feeling as 3 days ago, and that reality kind of blurring, I really think is that overlap now of the time speeding up and us literally living in the now. So that's why we can do something and 5 minutes later we can't remember if we did it. So I don't, any feedback on that I would really appreciate from people.
I was laughing at Salted Cedar. You know, if that's
Okay.
true for you, Salted Cedar, you know, more power to you.
Were
I'm
you
not
going to
going to take
share?
it. I'm
What
not
did
going to
what
take
did
it. He was just saying, he was talking about the flat Earth thing. I find it's interesting the way flat Earth can be brought into any topic. You know, it's
Anybody can bring anything into any topic.
yeah. But yeah, if
They'll always
if
find a
you're on
way.
a record, a flat plane or whatever, that's fine. I actually think that everyone individually, we're sort of like when you load in a simulator and we're like on a flat surface. Um,
Yeah.
each one of us are on a flat. Our what we can see and what we can experience. We don't have to take into consideration the roundness of the planet or the
Yeah.
flatness of the planet because what we load in is always flat. You know what I mean? It's like you're
Or
always
or what if my experience is round because I believe it's round, and your experience is flat because you believe it's flat?
yeah.
Like
And
that's
he
a, you
also
know,
said you need
that's a
Jesus.
possibility. Hmm?
That's what you lack. You'll continue to be deceived by the God of this earth. So it's like, you know, I can see that as, you know, do you need Jesus, the man, the human flesh, or do you need Christ? See, so I mean, I can see those same scriptures that you're thinking of in a completely different way. I can see if it's as it's saying that you need the Christ, the thing that Jesus had, the actual energy, the consciousness that Jesus learned to utilize. But it sounds like you're saying you need the actual man, you know, and I can see it as being both ways. I can see it. I used to see it the way you're seeing it, but now I see it as, you know, you can't get to the Father except through the way Jesus did it, and that's through the Christ consciousness, the unifying force consciousness. So I can see it both ways, but to tell somebody you need Jesus to do anything that's not even what Jesus taught. So
Yeah, but what he taught is it's all within us.
yeah,
So, you know, I would say, listen, for my perspective, and the way I'm looking at things is that it's the Christ consciousness is here within me. I believe in that. But what is now important? What is this new change? Is not a belief in all this exterior stuff. The belief is in me, right? I That's what I think everybody, you know, it's not egotistical, it's not all these negative things, uh you know, that we've been taught to avoid the fact that, you know, talking about our whether or not we are you know, gods in this, in reality, or whatever experience it is. It's time to believe in us as doing this what we need is us, and the Christ consciousness is in there. It's not outside of ourselves. It's us understanding that it is us. I am that.
but
i
that's
am
that's part
i
of the whole
am
control mechanism, in my
Yes.
opinion, my humble opinion. Because if they can always keep you looking external for someone
That's
to come and save you,
right.
why would you ever pick up? Why would you? I mean, if it says, think about the scripture that said Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life. Christ is the truth, the way, and the life. If someone's the way, then that's someone you want to follow and someone you want to emulate, not someone you want to kick back and relax and let them do it all for you. You know, that's a huge difference, but that's what we're taught in the church. That's why I have a big problem with organized religion, because they don't want a bunch of Jesuses running around. They want a bunch of people that think Jesus did it all for them and they don't have to. They can kick back and relax. And that's why we have a stagnant church. If Jesus said we would all be doing the things he did, and you go into the church and nobody in there is healing anybody, well, except for, say, a Benny Hinn or someone who's miraculously able to heal people, supposedly, then something ain't right, because Jesus said we'd be able to do what he's doing, and nobody in the church is doing what he's doing. So what's the problem there?
Because he wasn't in the church.
Right. In fact, he
was on the street. Yeah.
You know, and I think look at the same thing today as what was happening back then. It's no different. You know?
Yeah. You know, and I see that when we're looking off at something else to be the answer, to be the savior, to be the rescue, you know, even when we're looking at the horizon to see that wave, again, if you're looking outside of yourself, you're not going to find it. That's not the answer. And that's where really understanding that it's in here. This is where we have to experience this through our heart. You know, that's what, not through the preachings outside of ourselves, but the preaching of our own heart. And what that is telling us, you need to look inside yourself, in your own heart, not off in the horizon looking for something else to save you, rescue you, change you, and do all the work for you.
It's okay, Salted Cedar. No need to apologize. We all have our perspective, and that's sort of my that's always my stance. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're right to share respectfully.
And I think it's important that you can say that, and then I can tell you how I completely agree with you. I just agree with you in a different way. And I think that's one of the things that I learned when I got out of the church. All the buzz phrases that they say in the church, I can still say all of those things, but I completely understand those things completely differently than the way the church teaches you to think of it. Like Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life, and you know, God is within, and God is love, and all of the things that they say. And even like, you know, Jesus died for our sins. I can see that. I don't see it as the sacrificial thing like the church teaches, but I see it as he brought this important message.
Yes.
And he died as a result of our sinful nature to bring the message to us. And I still leave an impression. Say that, but I don't see it as the sacrificial lamb that they teach you, you know, that it was a blood sacrifice. I think that's, you know, that's sort of what we see with the Illuminati. They do those sort of blood sacrifices and things like that. So, you know, Jesus was asked on several occasions what I need to do to get to the kingdom of God. And he says, it's within you.
Go within.
Sell all your stuff and follow me. And he never said, believe, you know, on my blood that I'm going to spill on the cross and your sins will be washed away. He never taught that.
No.
So I'm glad you shared, and don't feel bad about it.
No, don't feel bad for sharing. As long as we're not telling each other that we're wrong, or you know that you shouldn't believe in that, because you know what, we are all entitled to our own experience, and you know, no one person is right or wrong. You know, and bringing back to, actually, I just remembered, even, you know, with the judgment thing, and you know, and thinking that you know, God is going to come in and judge us for these mistakes that were made. But what if they weren't mistakes at all? What if that was exactly the divine path that we chose to walk? What may seem like a mistake here, it can be with, like, your perspective changes when you step back and you see all the other pieces of the puzzle. Oh, well, it's not a mistake. You know, that was a detour that took me to over here, which is why I needed to go there.
And you grew as a result of it.
Exactly. It's all, you know,
that's about the prodigal son story is another story that I see completely different. You know, I saw it before in church as, you know, the kid went away, squandered all of his money, had to end up going back home, broke and crying to his father, you know, and then the father just, you know, welcomes him with loving arms back in, and, you know, clothes him again, and does all this stuff. And I used to view that as, you know, he made a huge mistake, learned his lesson, and came back. But in a sense, I've grown to realize that that's an important part of our development, to go out there. And one of the ways you can tell this is if you read through Solomon's books, which the Bible says he was like the wisest man. So if you read through his books and see, that's what he actually did. He went out and, explored and did all these things just to realize that he needed to come back to, his roots or whatever. And that's an important part of our development and our growth and our experience.
It's part of the journey.
Yeah, it's the journey.
It's making mistakes. It's doing things wrong. And from that experience, hopefully, growing. So I don't think anything anymore should be looked at a perspective of judgment for ourselves or for others, because we do not know the whole picture. We really don't. So we don't know that thing that may look wrong leads to something that is so right.
Yeah. And it's about unity, not dividing over our differences, but to find common ground, to love each other and to come together, not divide over stuff. That's why, there's nothing I know so well enough to treat anybody like, I know better than them or anything like that. It's nothing to divide over. This is about unity and coming together and loving. And, having our different perspectives isn't a bad thing. It keeps us all in line. It keeps us thinking. And I think, as long as we're not so closed-minded that we consider our own way and don't look into anything else, because on number one, a lot of people are afraid that God's going to get them if they even consider anything else, which was a trap for me for years. You know what I mean? But, blessed are those who seek truth and they're willing to go out on the limb to find God, right?
But we have to respect each other's right to our own journey and our own beliefs and choices. And so even though I know some people, they're just so convinced, they want to, they think they have to tell you, no, you're doing this wrong, because they want to save you, or they want to help you, or you don't know that you're hurting yourself, or you don't know, but that's not the way to go. You're not saving anybody by telling them that they're wrong. It's only when we actually truly come to our own decision that we're wrong with something that we actually fully understand how we're wrong, and we're actually able to make those changes. It's never just because some person, comes up and says and just tells us flat out why we're wrong. That never does it. You can be preached at 100 times, you're going to still do this, the same thing. It's really only going to change when we actually see from our own perspective what is right or wrong. So
right,
leave the demons out of it.
They're wanting you to talk more about earth changes and volcanoes.
Oh, they are. What specifically? Why I would ask why they want me to talk specifically.
Digital Intel wants you to ask Michelle Wolfe about earth changes and volcanoes. Now, we already talked about it, so I don't know if he came in late, but I don't know what else there is to say about it. Do you have anything to add to what we've said already?
Well, I mean, as far as that goes, that was definitely my visualization for, the upcoming month at least. You know what? Actually, I could see it going through right to term, just like, so I just got the visual of stretch marks, really bad stretch marks,
Yeah.
because I was making the interesting analogy of the trimesters. And looking at if March, April, May were the first trimester, June, July, August, the second trimester, then September, October, November, ending November would be the third trimester, the end of the third trimester. And what has kept coming up to me was, of course, 11. And we all keep seeing it, like every day now it's constant 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11, 11. Well, 11, 11. So I'm curious about that. And I mapped it out as the actual 3 months, because that visual was just kept coming up to me so much. I was like, okay, well, let's actually break it down. The first trimester, the second trimester, and the third trimester. So I'm going to follow through with that and sort of see where it goes. But I would expect, listen, when, those things happen, they're stretching. So in answer to your earthquake, volcano, and such question,
Sky changes. I think they fit into that same.
yeah, well, everything changes, right? Our whole physical, realities, it starts to crack and crumble,
Yeah.
right? And again, I see the old, or if you even look at, a snake that outgrows its skin and it has to shed the skin, so there's a lot of different things like that I think are going on. So,
Metamorphosis. It's like
yeah.
the transitions are underway, and we can really see it on every level of reality. Whether it's the sky or the increase in earthquakes and volcanoes, just the animals acting strange. I think it's all connected to the same shift that we're in.
Wind too. Wind.
Wind. Oh gosh,
Wind.
the wind's been
Wind.
vicious, huh?
So yeah, I have to mention that because that was a big thing. And I'd written a note at the beginning of April about the April showers, and then near the end of it, I'd made a comment about the wind, and that's when the wind started kicking in. And it's been insane. It's been crazy up here. I'm sure you've been getting hit with that. I
Yeah.
think people all over are
Well,
getting
we have
hit with
tornadoes here a
crazy.
lot, but we've been
Yeah.
having what they've termed it gust nados. And it's like a straight line gust that just like a rip a roof off, or all the shingles that you're like, where are all these shingles coming from? And it's
So you're
like,
just like walking down the street and all
yeah,
of a
you'll
sudden,
see a
whoop,
path.
you're
You'll
gone.
see a straight path where it's like the size of a street, and it knocked down trees and stuff. It's like one laser wind came through, and it just jacked some
Yeah.
stuff up.
So I would expect, I think intuitively I picked up that we're still going to get a lot more wind as well, because so the other visualization I get for what's going on is the seed process, planting the seed and the growing, and looking at from when you plant the seed in March, right, and the germination, how it grows, and looking at the stage up to harvest,
Yeah.
right, October, November. And so I'd be making notes on this. I'm putting the timelines out because I want to sort of continue as it goes along and as it progresses, tracking this growth both on a perspective of a pregnancy and the perspective of planting and harvesting. So what I saw was, we got the rain, so we didn't get the big wave all at once because it would wash away the seeds. So it's trickling in as we get stronger, we get more, we get more, we get more. But also what happens is when the shoots come up and they start to grow, they what partly makes them strong is the wind, so that is part of the process. The sun being out right now, we've come out of the ground, we're starting to flower, and we are going to be tested by heavy rain and quick growth, quick accelerated growth, and wind, I think. So I wanted to throw that in there too.
And that does have a nice parallel with the whole, trimester, and it's just plant or human, but it's still that whole process of growing and starting at the seed and growing into, into your bloom.
Well, there were two perspectives that I saw coming up, like not just for myself, but coming up everywhere, as far as symptoms and progression and sort of what's been going on, how we're feeling, and how we're receiving this energy. So I think it's going to be, I really want to follow through with that up through the summer and up into October and November. So if anybody, is experiencing what they might feel ties in with even a pregnancy scenario, or a growth scenario, like planting seeds and harvesting, please let me know what you guys think of that, and any experiences that you have along the way. I'm going to refresh myself on actual different experiences that we feel through the different terms of pregnancy, and make some notes on those symptoms and see how that progresses through the next 3 month three intervals that we have matching with trimesters. So any feedback from you guys, I would appreciate that.
Definitely. And you want to share your email address one more time towards the end?
Yeah, so it's wolf.art101@gmail.com. So WOLFE .art101@gmail.com.
Perfect.
Loving your messages, your letters, guys. Forgive me if I try to get back to them. right away. But here's one of those memory glitches I've noticed happening. Sometimes I'll read something earlier and literally forget that I read it. And so until I see it later and I'm reading it and then have I read this already? It's yeah. So
Oh
I'm
yeah,
trying to get back to people
it's really
as
hard.
quickly as I
Or I'll
can.
read one that I've read and I'm like, I never responded to this. I thought I responded to this, and it's like,
Thank
oh
you.
my gosh, I'm sorry. I thought I
Yes,
responded and I didn't. And
that's exactly what's happening to me sometimes, and also with the void vacuum kind of feeling over the last
yeah,
week and a half, 2 weeks or whatever. I've definitely had periods of going very reclusive and very quiet. And I think there's probably quite a few people out there that could empathize with that sort of withdrawal quiet. It doesn't have to be sad or anything like that. It's just quiet. So,
yeah.
and away from
Or like
people.
you said, you get to the end of the email and it's like squirrel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then you just felt like you
Yes.
responded, but you actually
It's
did.
gotten worse. I'm just, it's yeah, it's right in front of me. That's it. It's right in front of me.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So you throw a squirrel in there, well, I'm gone. Hmm.
definitely.
Any
Well,
questions from people today before we get on to our
now,
meditation?
let's see. Nicola Simpson says, Michelle is great. You make a difference in the world and keep
Oh,
everything open minded. That's Nicola from
thank
Australia.
you
So glad she
guys.
could hop in. Long time viewer. Um, so glad she could get in with the live show. Yeah, it's just no questions for us. They got a little
Okay, good.
discussion going on, but that's good. I think
Good,
we
good.
should, before we run out of time,
Yes.
do a group meditation because I'm going to go on in about 10 minutes on with
Are you serious?
well, 11 minutes. It's 2:49 here.
Oh, should we
So we
come
got
back and
time
do a
though.
meditation?
No, we always got time. It's only like what, 5 minutes or something. So let's
Okay.
do it. I don't want to miss it.
I'll
And
make it a quick one today.
and he'll be fine with it. And yeah, you can kill your camera if it makes you more comfortable.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Oh, okay. All right, ready guys? Everybody take a breath and let's
And I'm gonna
go.
mute.
Yep. I'm just going to take a minute with you guys to just straighten the spine. Deep breath into center. So what I'd like to do today for our group meditation is take us back to the growing season. And what we're going to do today is start off as seeds in the ground, God seeds. That's what we are, nice in the moist earth. So I just want you to center yourself in your seed pod. Now, as you start to send some roots down, I want you to see those roots, those tendrils travel down, but not to this earth that we're on right now. I want you to really focus on the new Gaia. I want us today to ground into the new Gaia, and we can do this within our minds. So let's leave behind, our 3D Earth right now, and let's ground together into the new Gaia. So we'll stretch our roots down from our seeds, growing, to wrap around our new Gaia and wrap around some of those ideas and visualizations you have for yourself about what that new Gaia would be for you and how you would experience it, and wrap your tendrils around those ideas and around those visualizations, and just breathe that in. So now that we're secure and rooted in the ground, we can start to look up to the sun. Look up to the hole we see above us in the dirt and stretch. So I want you to feel the energy from a seed, and it's going to push up your spine, through the heart chakra, through your throat chakra, through your third eye, up straight through your crown chakra. So I want you to picture that beanstalk, like Jack and the Beanstalk. That beanstalk is going to grow up from the ground, straight up through your chakras, and then keep on growing above. stretching and stretching towards the sky. Now, as we're stretching, we're starting to separate branches. And as we separate our branches, we see each other. We see each other growing, our branches reaching out to each other in all directions. And as we reach out our branches, we start to bud little leaves and vines that could coil around each other in all of our branches. Now, I want you to just grow with that together, feeling the vines and our branches and our leaves weaving together, not just as one tree, but as an entire magical forest that covers our new Gaia. So the light that we're grounding, the Christ consciousness that we're grounding through our beanstalks, through our trees, is into this new Gaia and growing up and up through the beanstalk to flower out ahead of us. And visualize all those around you sharing this group meditation. As you see the colors of your flowers burst forth, see all of their different flowers, the colors, all the differences between them and how they represent themselves in this new life, in this new creativity, in this new Gaia, and how we merge all these ideas, these colors, all this growth together, growing and growing, stronger and stronger, weaving the forest together, tighter and tighter. And now we're going to feel through the sun, the Christ consciousness coming right through the sun in a wonderful beam of energy that shines down upon all the branches that we've created in our magical forest. And all our leaves are stretching up to feel the glory of this light, to feel the glory of the Christ consciousness love running through the veins of our branches, sharing that energy from one through the other. And together, I want us all to take a moment to breathe that Christ energy all in through all of our branches, through each other, down into the ground, through the tendrils, through the roots, down to Gaia. And let's really secure it, build that strength. And I want you to visually float up with it in your mind. And breathe that in together. Locked in, growing, and floating up. As we raise our vibration, we are raising up, we are lifting up the new Gaia. Up, away from the old, crumbling away reality that no longer exists. It is peeled away and left before us our brand new Eden, our garden, our new life, our new reality of joy, abundance, love, and freedom. For we are infinite beings. Joy, love, and abundance are our birthright. So it is ours. Amen.
Amen.
Ooh.
That was awesome. Well, I wanted to let everybody know that Michelle's link is just below. So if you haven't subscribed to her channel, make sure you do that. And she will be back next Tuesday. And for everybody that would like to follow us over to Dark Wolf's Den or follow me, I don't know what Michelle's got going on, but I thought it was funny that I have Michelle Wolfe on and then I'm going to Dark Wolf's Den. And then I shared the pictures from Michelle S. that sent me, and it's like we got two Michelles, two Wolves. Of course, you got the E on the end, but all these synchronistic things that keep happening.
All day. Yeah. All day long, more and more and more. And you know what? I love it because just giggle with it. It's such a joy. Just see that each time you see this happening in front of you, it's just another reminder of how we are progressing so quickly with each rapid increase in these synchronicities that we see is us rapidly closing in on this new reality. I have some exciting news before we go.
Let's hear it.
Tomorrow, I am doing my very first QHHT session with Michael Garber tomorrow. I am so excited. So I have been working on my questions. It's been crazy trying to come up with stuff. So I'm open to suggestions, guys. I got a very short window before I'm putting these questions into Michael. I hope to actually be able to release with him maybe some of the experience that I have on video. And then, of course, I'll be able to share that with you next Tuesday, Shane, and I'm sure
Looking
I'll
forward
do
to it.
a video as well. So I'm super excited about
And
this,
it's
guys.
his channel, his YouTube channel is Transformation, right?
Transformotion.
Formotion, that's what it was. Transformotion. He's the one that
Transformotion.
did the eye video back a couple of months ago that
Yeah,
everybody was watching.
beautiful being. His
Yeah.
energy just absolutely was just drawn to it. Just like you were, just one of those. I've watched lots of videos, watched lots of different people, but every now you get that one where just boom, you can pinpoint that connection, you can feel the energy, and you just. I don't hesitate. I don't wait. I just go right in there and just like I did with you, we gotta talk.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
So make sure you guys come back next week for that. That's going to be fun to discuss that.
It will.
Along with all the other energy info.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
follow me over to Dark Wolf's Den if you guys still want to chat and you can join in. Thank you, Dead GPK. He just put the link in the chat window on the side there. Or if you're watching this later, you can watch the replay. I'm sure it will be there.
Yeah.
And I will see you guys over there in a few minutes. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thanks, guys. Oh, I love you all so much.
Yes, it's awesome, isn't it?
So much.
I love you guys too. And
yeah, have an awesome day.
Yeah, have an awesome day. And I'll see you guys in a few minutes for those coming along. Have a good one.
Peace.
Peace.